Good morning, ladies and gentlemen who are joining the webinar. You are welcome to today's webinar. It's a nice morning in Accra, nice weather, cool after the rains. We hope you would all have time to enjoy what we have as this morning: labeling, branding, and marketing. You're welcome to the webinar. A few seconds, a minute, and we will zoom in into the details for the day. On behalf of the WACOMP team, we welcome all of you to the webinar. Today's webinar, as indicated by the poster, we're talking about labeling, branding, and marketing. We want to know how to label our products, how to brand, and how to market everything that we produce, from cosmetic products to cassava and derivatives, fruits, products that we have. This webinar is being organized by WACOMP, the West Africa Competitiveness Program. It's a program that is funded by the European Union and implemented in Ghana by United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. WACOMP is a regional project, so it's been implemented all over West Africa. In Ghana, I am the Chief Technical Advisor, and our main three components or products that we run are cassava and its derivatives, fruits, mango, pineapple, cosmetics, and personal care products. We're organizing this webinar, as we are aware, because of the COVID pandemic situation. So we're not able to meet our stakeholders and beneficiaries face to face. So we use this webinar to reach as many people as we can, whilst we still keep on the mandate of the project. If you look at the base of the Zoom, there you would have the Q&A session. So when we roll, please stick there, and then if you have any questions, please type your questions at the Q&A session. Today we have two distinguished gentlemen who would take us through the discussions for the day. I would introduce them briefly. Before I do that, we would also tell you that you just stick on and keep on with us. Any question you have, please keep it down in the Q&A session, and at the appropriate time, we would come to the questions and answering session, and we'll read the questions out for them to answer. On the screens, you see, we have Vedat Kunt. Vedat is an international business and industrial engineer. He's a member. He has held a number of managerial positions in various private and public firms, in textiles, in apparel, in office automation, food, cosmetics, and he's been directly involved in production and marketing supply chains all over the world. Since 2003, he's been a consultant and a trainer for a number of SMEs in strategic management, export, brand development, and management. So you see, the man we're having today really knows the sector that he's going to talk about. He's a co-managing partner of Vigo, a consulting company in Izmir in Turkey, and he's been involved in various donor projects. Since 2010, he's been working as an international consultant in cluster development for UNIDO, and we are honored to have him today. He also provides technical support to the WACOMP team in Ghana. So welcome, Vedat.
Thank you very much.
Then we have, welcome, thank you too. We have our brother, Emmanuel Nkrumah. Mr. Emmanuel Nkrumah is the head of cosmetics and household chemicals at the Food and Drugs Authority. He's a principal regulatory officer and head of the cosmetics and household chemicals department at Food and Drugs Authority. He's a regulatory officer. He has over 14 years broad experience in food, drugs, medicinal and medical devices, cosmetics, household chemicals regulation. Mr. Nkrumah is also a member of the Good Manufacturing Practice Inspectorate and a Product Registration Committee. He's a member of the Technical Committee for drafting standards for cosmetics and household chemicals. So we see that in Mr. Nkrumah, we have everything to know about labeling, how to label our products. You take us through the regulations as is required by law and by FDA. So Mr. Nkrumah, again, we welcome you to this webinar. And thank you for accepting to be a panelist for us. So for the program, as we move straight in, we're going to have a poll, and the poll will just be a few questions. Just answer them for us whilst we kickstart. It gives us the opportunity to know a few things, and then it also helps Mr. Nkrumah, who would start. So we'll have our webinar today. Let me just state, we'll have two main sessions. The first session will be with the FDA. We get to know about the regulations, about labeling, and all the requirements about labeling. When that is done, we'll have the Q&A session for FDA, and we'll end the session. Immediately afterwards, we'll have a second pool, and the second pool would have will be on branding marketing. And after two questions are answered, we'll now move in, and then Vidat will take us through the session. After Vidat's presentation, we'll have the Q&A session, and that would end for the day. So now we have another colleague who is invisible. Ibe, can you please put the poll on the screen for us? Yes. So there are two main questions. Please just click on your answer for us. Are you familiar with FDA labeling requirements? Is a yes or no answer. And what should be included on labels according to FDA requirements? Here we have multiple choice. The product name, the ingredient list, the net content, date of manufacturing, conditions of use, all the above or none of the above. This will help Mr. Nkrumah to, as he delves into his presentation, to know what our requirements are and what he has to support us with. In the next 10 seconds, we'll bring the results of the poll, and then we can move on. So the poll is on. In the next second, 2, 3, would have the results of the poll, and then Mr. Nkrumah will begin his presentation. So Ibe, if we have critical mass, can we have the results? Super. So Mr. Nkrumah, as you can see, 56% of our participants or attendees are aware with all the requirements of FDA labeling, and then that's 44% saying no. So we have to still reach out to people. Otherwise, whatever it takes, our products will still be on the market. So we have to make sure they know. And so people are aware what should be included in the labeling requirements. 56% say the product name, another 39% are saying ingredients, 33% net content, 44% date of manufacturing, content used, and 78% are saying all the above. A few, 6%, not negligible though, are saying none of the above. So Mr. Nkrumah, your work is cut out for you.
Yeah.
On this note, I hand over to Mr. Nkrumah. Vidat and myself will be in the background listening in, and wish you all the best, Mr. Nkrumah, as you take us through this presentation. And again, for attendees who have joined us, this is a webinar being organized by WACOMP, the West Africa Competitiveness Program. We're working on 3 main value chains: cosmetics and personal care products, cassava and its derivatives, fruits, mango, and pineapple. You are welcome and enjoy the time with us. Thank you very much. Mr. Nkrumah, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. I think it's been a good relationship with WACOMP, UNIDO, the partnership for our stakeholders to ensure that our stakeholders are in compliance with the requirements that's been set by products that are regulated by the FDA. And for that, we talk of food, drugs, cosmetics, household chemical substances, etc. But before anybody puts a product out there on the market, the product should have a label. And the label gives information about the product, be it the content, the mode of use and applications, how the product is stored. It gives a summary of what one should expect from the product. And so the product label carries a lot of information and speak to the consumer or the end user. So most of the times, when you go to the supermarket or you go out there on the market and you are picking a product, one, the appearance of the product is key. When anybody picks the product because of the appearance, the next thing they look at is the product information or the label information. That is going to communicate to the consumer. And so the product label is very key. From the voting, 6% indicated none of the above, which is still a significant number. I was expecting 1% or less, but 6% is a significant number, and is an issue of concern, especially if you're a manufacturer. 78% indicated they know of the FDA's requirement and our labeling requirement. This requirement is drawn from the LI 1541. That's the labeling requirement, which is the legal instrument that also mandates us to do what we do. And we draw from that LI 1541 and make additions, which then we insert into our guideline. And the guideline too is, I would say, a legal document that directs people as to what to do when products are submitted to the FDA. So what we say generally is that product labels should be informative and accurate. It should give exact information about the product and should not leave room for ambiguity or for assumptions. So it's very important you put information out there and you're on point and it says a lot. And you see, most of these products have very little space for you to put a lot of information. So a few words which are descriptive and give a lot of information about the product. And the product labels shall be printed and shall be clear and legible and should not fade when exposed to sunlight or when rubbed with the hands, or if anything like water or any liquid pours on it, then it fades off. What it means is at one stage of the chain, your product will be at one point without any information on the label, which is also very critical. The information on the label, when it's out there on the market, should have certain information or certain parameters that are mandatory. If I say mandatory, it means it has to be there. Number one is the name of the product. And the name of the product at times is drawn from maybe the name of a chemical that was used. That's why the name of the product and or the generic INCI, International Nomenclature for Cosmetic Ingredients. At times, some of the products are cited that the brand names are drawn from the ingredients or from one of the major ingredients that was used in the formulation of the product. At times, it's acceptable when it's descriptive. The next thing is the list of active ingredients in the product, where applicable, showing the amount of each present in a dosage unit. Say maybe sodium hydroxide 2% or water, this percentage. We all know that most of the ingredients are listed in order of predominance. That is, the ingredients that is more in the product come first. The ingredient that is least comes last, right? So it's a descending order of dominance. However, color and the smell, the fragrance, they go to the last part of the listing. And people at times say that, oh, when I indicate all my ingredients on the label, someone will steal my formula or get to know what I do and do say or replicate. That is not true. Because different people, if you give 3 people the same formula, put them in different rooms to formulate a product, they will come out with a formulation. And if people are to test it, you realize that each of the formulation will be different from the other. So we want to, put this out of people's mind that every ingredient you put in the product should be listed on the ingredient list or on the label. Because there may be some ingredients that people may not like, or people may be allergic or react to some ingredients. If you don't put there and it is established, it has its consequences. It's against the law, really, because there's a portion of the law which frowns on that, and you will be found liable if it is found to be so. The next point is the net content of the package or the container. If it's solid, it comes in grams. If it's liquid, it's in volume or ml. So what happens is a requirement that you clearly indicate the volume of the product or the mass on the product label. So is the batch number. Every product that you do, you manufacture a certain batch, and these batch are allocated numbers. And that is the batch number you give per formulation or per the batch for a certain period. So those batch numbers are indicated for that batch that was produced for that period on the product label. It's very important, because if something should happen and the need arises for a recall, the regulator will not tell you to recall all your products from the market. We may tell you, recall batch A or batch B. And for purposes of also traceability, the batch numbers are very important. And we use the batch numbers to do the tracing so that we move those batches only from the market if the need arises, and not the entire product lot from the market. The next one will be the date of manufacture and best before or the expiry date. It's also important. The date that the product was manufactured, and based on the formulation or how you manufacture the products, you determine based on the ingredients you put in there that the product will expire this particular date. So the expiry date is very important, and it's mandatory you put it on product labels in Ghana. So when people use the products and they use it after the expiry date, and there's any allergic reaction or anything that's uncomfortable on the skin and the people complain about, the expiry date is clearly stated on the product label, because it's expected that you don't use a product when it has expired. But if you don't put the expiry date on the label, people use it beyond the expected date of expiry, and there's any adverse reaction or allergic reaction, the manufacturer, you can be taken off. And the law clearly states that there has to be an expiry date. So it's a requirement that should be on product labels. The next one will be the direction for use, how the product is used. Squeeze a small amount onto your palm, rub it, and then apply on skin. How products are used are very important, because the manufacturer will then tell you how that particular product is applied or used on the body to get the desired effect. Any warnings or precautions that may be necessary should also be indicated so that consumers are aware when they are using such products. Then the storage conditions, any special storage conditions or handling precautions that may be necessary should also be indicated. So for most products, they will tell you store in a cool, dry place, or store at room temperature, or store below room temperature, or store below 25 degrees, so that the end users know how to keep or store the product, so that the shelf life indicated gets the exact quality from the product when it's stored under these conditions stated by the manufacturer. Because if you don't store the products at the stipulated storage condition, it can also result in the deterioration of the product and the stability of the product. The name of any excipients known to be a safety concern should also be indicated, as I indicated earlier, if there are allergens or any of the ingredients which have safety implications should state them. So it means you have to know your ingredients very well and why you are putting them in these formulations. The next one is the name of the manufacturer, the postal address, and premises address should also be on the label. Now we have the GPS. So if you indicate the name of the manufacturer, you can also indicate the GPS address as well, in addition to the premises address. And it's for the sake of traceability and also to know the exact location of the manufacturer. Then the country of origin, and in this case, made in Ghana, should be part of the product label. Other things that we talk about are point 3.1.4. The product name, package, or label shall not bear close resemblance to a previously registered product. However, when it comes to the regulator, we will do that evaluation and inform the clients as well. So it's also important when you are developing product labels, you inform the regulator what you are doing, so that you can also make inputs before you take the final label to the print. And all products that are placed on the Ghanaian market should be in English. Products should be in English. But if it's for another market where the first language is not English, for example, French or Chinese, then it has to be translated in that language. So it means there will be two information, that is translation on the product label. But if it's going to be used in Ghana in English, it's mandatory that English should be part of the label. And then other precautions like not recommended for use by children or not to be taken by children, keep out of reach of children for external use only. These are also information that are very important and should be on the product label. I'll go straight to the specific requirements. But before that, I also want to indicate that products locally manufactured shall bear FDA registration number. It's also mandatory. If the product is manufactured in Ghana to be placed on the local market, if approval is given, the FDA approval number or registration number should be indicated on the product label. Now, with the specific requirements, in addition to all the clauses, indications, or what I've said earlier with regards to the labeling, every cosmetic product or household chemical If it's cosmetic, it should remain a cosmetic. If it's a household, it should remain a household. If it's a food product, it should remain a food product. And people should not make indications or claims. That means a product, a food product, can also serve as a food supplement, or a cosmetic product can serve or have clinical claims or clinical properties to treat diseases. It's not permitted. So cosmetics should remain cosmetics, food products should remain food products, and household chemicals should remain household chemicals. Now, for household chemical substances, then this we talk of antiseptics, insecticides, disinfectants, detergents, cleaning products, etc. It comes in a form such that for some of the products, you need to have dilution. You need to dilute the concentration before you use it for various indications. So for some products, if it's antiseptic and you want to use it to bath, then the label should indicate that pour the cup size or the cover, maybe cupful in a liter of water, or a bucket full of water, or say 5 liters of water for bathing. But if you have to use it to disinfect floors, then a cupful to say a liter of water, so that you get the desired benefit or the expected benefit from the product. So the mode of dilution, or how the product should be diluted, should be clearly stated on the product label. If the product is such that you need protection, the method of application and the protection required should be clearly stated. Some of the products are such that when you mix them with water or other chemicals, there's a reaction. So if the need arises, such that one needs to put on protective glasses, then it is done. For products like aerosols or with the insecticides and some of these other pesticide products that are used to get rid of insects, etc., re-entry period shall be specified on product labels. So you don't spray and then you stay in the room, because the chemical can be toxic to you. So after spraying, you leave the room with all the windows closed. After a period, you can open the windows for adequate ventilation. That is what we mean by re-entry periods shall be specified on the product label. Precaution and treatment in case of accidental ingestion. That is, if accidentally someone drinks it, or someone is poisoned by that product, precaution that should be taken should also be there for the end users. Appropriate conditions of disposal and hazard symbols are also important, because some products they are highly flammable, like the sanitizers that a lot of people are manufacturing now. It's alcohol-based, so it's highly flammable. So the hazard symbol for flame should be there, and the precaution or the cautionary statement, like highly inflammable, should be also on the product label. So when these information are on the product labels, it becomes easy for the end user to patronize the product, to use it per the manufacturer's instructions, and get the desired benefit from the product in full or in total. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Nkrumah, thank you very much.
Welcome.
And for the concise presentation. There are a few questions that I would run through for you to start. So one is asking, the first question that I'll start with, products like natural black soap don't expire. So how can they write the expiry date if you have a black soap?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, someone will say they don't expire, but they do expire. You see, it can stay for a long period, but you see the chemicals that some people use, say sodium hydroxide, some use potash, some use other organic or natural products to combine to get the soap. Now, each of these products, if you leave them there over time, you realize that it changes in nature from the first day that maybe you pick the product. Now, if you mix them together, you also get a combination that will react with each other. So it's important, yes, you indicate that it can expire over this period. You can indicate 3 years. Normally by 3 years or 2 years, the product will be off the market. But what happens is, if you don't indicate and someone uses it after 5 years, these are chemical composition or combination which will tend to react. It may give something, especially when people don't store them well. You may get impurities coming in or products coming in that people will react to. But if you keep them within the stipulated shelf life, the product is potent, it's effective, and you can get the quality that you expect from the product. That's why we've now put it there. Manufacturing date, expiry date, it's mandatory. So if you put it there, it doesn't change anything. I don't want to believe it will change the product. Because if you manufacture a product today, in the next 3 months, 4 or 5 months, it's off the market anyway. A lot of people patronize. So let's produce with the notion that people patronize the products. So in the next 3 or 4 months, it will be off the market. New ones will replace the old ones. So then you keep changing it. But most of these products, people indicate 3 years. But definitely 3 years is up. But if you leave it blank like that, and there's no shelf life, and issues arise, what if it's sitting in someone's bathroom for, say, 10 years, and you go and use this after 10 years, because there's no shelf life on it, and you have a reaction, what will happen? But if the shelf life is there, expired, say, 2013, you know that it's expired about 7 years ago. So now the onus lies on you, the end user, whether you use it or not. If you use it and nothing happens, God is good. But if something happens, then what happened? If the indication is there, you decided to ignore it. So for the benefit of the end user and people who want to comply, let's put it there for them. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, I think we have a small problem with Charles. He has frozen. So Mr. Kruma, I will take up from here with the questions.
Okay, all right.
We have one question from one participant. You were saying that the labeling should be in English only. And the participant is asking, why should the language be in English only and no other languages or dialects for which radio adverts are permissible?
Okay, thank you. In Ghana, the language or the first language for communication is English. So if it has to be English, which is the primary language for communication, and any other. So if you want to put English and Ghana, you can, but English should be number one. If you want to put English and any other local dialect, English should be there, and the other dialects can also be there. If it's English and French, that's fine. But you can't just put, say, Ghana or Chi there. There are people who can't read Chi. but the number one medium of communication in Ghana is English. And when we all go to school, that is the medium, that is the language that is used to communicate to all of us. That's why we are using English as the medium of communication of product labels.
Excellent. Thank you. There is one other question, since we are working also on other value chains, namely the juices, the fruits. There is one participant that is asking, how do you write ingredients for pasteurized juices?
How do we write ingredients for?
For pasteurized juices.
Ah, okay. That's interesting. I would have wished that I have an idea, but I don't want to give half information. So I would have wished the officer in charge of the food section was here to, give the details to that. I would have appreciated
Maybe,
that.
yes.
So,
what we can do is we can collect this detailed answer, and then we can also share it with
share it later. I think that would be appropriate. Yeah.
Excellent. There is another question for you. Is there any official template for recording a batch to be followed?
No, there's no template. The manufacturer, you decide the template that you use. I can decide to use X, Y, Z. That X, Y, Z, I am the only one who understands it. So the manufacturer shares the translation of the barcodes with the regulator. Because at another time, you use QPR. So when I say X, Y, Z, I know the month, the day, and the year, right? Because most of these batch numbers, they have meaning. The manufacturer gives the numbers, and there's a meaning to these numbers. Some people use 001, 002, or 200. That is something that is the preserve of the manufacturer of the product. But you should be able to explain the meaning. Because if we have to retrieve a batch, that particular batch, we should be able to break it down to know that these batches were manufactured at this period, this time, this shift, or by this group of people. There should be meaning, and it's the preserve of the manufacturer.
Yeah, we have many questions coming in. I will close with 2, 3 maybe, so that we can go to the second part. And then for the questions that we cannot answer directly, we will make sure to get the answers from you, and then we will share them with the participants. There is one question that says, can the products be sent to the FDA for lab certificate of analysis?
Yes, it can. You can send it to us, because now we've done a lot of changes. Previously, we were relying on certificate of analysis from independent public analysts like GSA, the universities, etc. But now we've realized that it's a bit costly for especially the cottage industries, and it takes a lot of time. Now we want to reduce our processing times and also take away part of that cost. So once you bring it to the FDA, straight away we work on it even without that. But if you also want FDA to generate a certificate of analysis for you, an independent one for you, there's a fee for that, and then it can be done. It's a service we provide.
Excellent. These are 2 questions in one. What do you do when the product size is really small and there is not much space to put all the information? And then in some local cosmetics, you have the written name is the botanical name, which is not really understandable by the consumers. Is that acceptable?
The second question again.
Yeah, if it's acceptable to have the botanical names on the cosmetics, on the natural cosmetics.
Yes. Okay, let me answer the first one first. when the product is very small, there are some products which are very, very small, but manufacturers find ways. I think when you communicate with your printers, they have a way of managing to get this information on the product labels. There are some of them are said that not all the information will be able to fit the small packet, but the most important ones definitely should be there. The product name, the ingredients, the batch number, manufacturing date, expiry date. If you are unable to put even manufacturing date, at least it's okay, but expiry date should be there. Right. And with the botanical names, yes, you can say shea butter. It's acceptable, we'll take it. I mean, the scientific name, Biturospermum pachy, is acceptable. But if you see, cottage industry, we encourage them to grow into medium scale to large scale to export. In some jurisdictions, if you say shea butter, they may not understand. They will understand Biturospermum pachy. The scientific name or the botanical name is what they understand. That one is conventional, is used all across everywhere in the world. So some of the names are like that. In your jurisdiction, they might have a name that in another jurisdiction, that is not the name they use. So it becomes a problem. Water is water, but you know the criteria is you indicate aqua for water. So it's best if you have the scientific name, is better. But there are instances where people will write thickener. Thickener doesn't mean anything. People write booster, base. You know, those names are vernacular and jargons that do not make any meaning. But if you indicate sodium lauryl ether sulfate, everybody knows what it is.
Good, very clear, Mr. Nkrumah. The very last one.
No problem. No, yeah, I can take 2 or 3 more. It's fine.
If one wants to export cosmetic products, is it enough to have the FDA certification, or do we require more?
Okay. If you want to export a cosmetic products, then the product should be registered, number one. The next thing is, yes, you can export. That is if the importing country are not asking for any other documentation. For some countries, they will ask you of certificate for export or the free sale certificate, which FDA issues and it accompanies your consignment when they are leaving Ghana. And the procedure, I think the fee for processing that is 200 cedis. You pay 200 cedis. If the product is registered, we issue the export certificate on your consignment, and it accompanies your products to the importing country.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Nkrumah. We cannot answer the other questions right now, but we will provide the answers to the participants. We will add a question and answers form in our on our platform, on our website, so that they can find all the answers there.
Okay.
In the meantime, I think Charles is back also. Mr. Nkrumah, we would like to thank you so much for being with us and today, and in the project implementation in general. We were together in Tamale already.
Yes,
so you are a strategic partner for WACOMP Ghana, and we really would like to thank you very much for being with us today.
Welcome. All right.
Thank you. Bye. And yeah, I think, Charles, we can launch the poll for the second part on branding and marketing, just to give Vedat a little bit of a flavor of how the participants are familiar with these concepts. So here are the 2 questions. First question is, have you got a branding strategy? and yes or no. And how often do you update your marketing strategy? Every quarter, every 6 months, once in a year, update? I keep it always as it is. Please click and answer so that Vedat can also have a feeling of who you are and how familiar we are with these concepts. Almost a third has replied already. So please click on the link. Excellent. Half have replied. Another 10 seconds and then we project the results of the poll. So almost half done. Any other that wants to answer? Okay, so here are the results. The results are, have you got a branding strategy? 43% don't have has a branding strategy, sorry, and 57% doesn't have, so almost half. 40% does not update the marketing strategy. And then 29% update it once a year or every 6 months, and only 7% updates the marketing strategy regularly every quarter. So I think, Vedat, you are good to go. You have the basic information of the people that you have in front of you. Please, floor is yours. And
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me well? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you with that.
Okay. And I think I shared the screen, so everything is on. Okay.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm greeting you from Izmir, Turkey. I had a small problem with the connection because I'm in the village somewhere in the hills. So I had to change places. So sorry for the background, but this was a last-minute crisis, small crisis for us. But I'm glad I solved it. Anyway, today's second topic is about marketing and branding. So I will go into the soft parts of marketing and branding. Yesterday, we had an excellent presentation from our colleague from Lebanon. So she was a lot into all kinds of packaging, the functions of packaging, and even including some parts of marketing, which was great for us. And now before us about the FDA regulations. So we are more or less on the same page with the packaging and the regulation of the packaging, the meaning of the packaging, what we use packaging for. Now I will go into some other parts of marketing and branding. Okay. Marketing is all about them. And who are these people? All races, all colors, all beliefs, all sexes, everything. I mean, Western world, Africa, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, everywhere, Asia, Latin America, Southern America, everywhere. They are our potential customers. So marketing is, at the end of the day, and at the beginning of the day, it's all about them, all about these people who are our potential customers. So we want to know in marketing who these people are. What do they want? Why they want it? Where they want it? Where they want to buy these products or services? How they will use it? Will they use it by themselves, give it as a gift to someone, or they will use it in the family? When they want it? In the morning, in the afternoon, at night, tomorrow, yesterday? Do they travel, or basically they sit at home? Do they have a family or single people? What do they do? What are their jobs? How do they earn their life? Do they exercise? Do they walk regularly? Where they live? In a city, in a suburban area, in a village? Which part of the world? Do they know you? Do they know your competitors? Do they have families? And how much they are willing to pay for your product? Now I come to the very beginning of everything. What is our business? Today we are working with two value chains. It's the processed fruits, cassava, and cosmetic products. And at the beginning of everything, the marketing, branding, whatever, there has to be a business strategy. The business strategy is mainly about if you want to grow or not. How do we take care of innovation? Are we a technology-driven company? Or do we want to be the leader in the market where we are selling? So on and so forth. I mean, these kind of concepts are part of the business strategy. And do we have a balanced future perspective? This is coming from the balanced scorecard technique in strategy development. So you basically have four different perspectives, which is the financial expectations, how much you want to earn, your profit expectations, your turnover expectations, profit expectations, shareholder expectations, so on and so forth. The customer value for us, for today's topic, this is, I think, the most important part. Efficiency and quality, this is mostly, of course, concerned with the production systems, how you're efficient and how you take care of your quality and compliance to the standards. And then the inside of the business, which is your human capacity, your technology, your infrastructure, and your business culture. So these four perspectives have to be balanced. I mean, it's not all about making money. It is also about the culture. It's also about your developing your skills and human capacity. It's also becoming more efficient and increasing your quality level step by step every year, for example, and taking care of the customer. So the most critical part for us today is the customer. Customer, if there's a customer, you have a business. If no customer, there is no business. Customer is everything, and we have to offer the right value for them to get interested with us. Otherwise, why should a customer be interested with us if we don't offer them the right value, the value they're looking for? In order to serve the customer, we should have some capabilities and capacities as well. We need a human capacity. We need some kind of a technology, even the basic technology to produce our products and services. But once the technology level goes high and high, we are more efficient and we can produce more bigger size, bigger volume products easily. We need a network. We have to be in touch with different parts of the world, different parts of the supply chain. And the demand chain as well. So network is another important capacity and capability. Networking is another capability for us. Knowledge. Without knowledge, probably it's impossible to do anything. We need to know how to produce products, how to market the products, how to tap into markets which have potential for us. And then, of course, another capacity we need is the finance. Somehow we need money to buy technology, to market our products, to produce, to pay for the wages, so on and so forth. So it's a kind of a machine with different parts working in harmony. And at the end of today, what kind of products are we capable of producing today and for tomorrow? Today, we're basically producing, as I mentioned in the last slide, processed cassava, processed fruits, and processed cosmetics or body care products. Now the customer side. It's the main thing. The customer is the main thing. What value we offer to the customer? How do we make them happy? Are we different than the competitors? And what is our competitive edge? Each company has to, or entrepreneur has to ask themselves, are we competitive enough to be better than our competitors, rivals? And are we competitive enough to provide some services and goods to the customer which they are looking for? Who are these people? Who are the customers? Are they in Accra, Kumasi, Bolga, or some other parts of the world, London, UK, Dubai, Berlin, New York City, America? Do our competitors know them and they tap into these markets as well? What are the problems these customers are facing? Their headaches. What do they need to solve their problems, and can we help them to do that? For example, this very simple photograph from everyday life of a Ghanaian. When we visit Ghana during our missions, when we travel around, we see these people. I call them the street market. Probably you also call them the same with the same name. So it's very simple. Ghana is a hot country. The temperatures are very high. There is huge traffic. So once you're stuck in the traffic, what you need is either water or something that give you a refreshment. So these people who are in between the cars at every traffic light, moving towards down the traffic light, is offering you something to solve your problem. Very basic, very simple marketing or selling technique, but they offer you the best that you can that you can find in the car, stuck in the traffic, very high temperature. You need something. You need something to drink. So that's it. That is a basic solution for a serious need. If you want to summarize marketing in a nutshell, it's the activity, set of institutions and processes, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and also to the society at large. One of the gurus of business, Mr. Peter Drucker, once said that the aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits them and sells itself. So you don't do much. Your product or service really fits the customer's needs. Marketing starts with a focus on meeting customer needs. Marketing should be telling stories, not only selling products. So there should be a story behind every product. The business that wins becomes known and trusted as the brand that solves customer problems along their buying experience. So buying, even I mean, as I mentioned in my previous slide, buying water stuck in the traffic, that's also a buying experience, right? Once in the traffic, you can buy from different vendors. They're all around the car, but you choose one. So it's kind of an experience you have every day. So once you are happy with your experience, the next day you probably buy from the same vendor. And the next day after that, you buy from the same vendor. So if you're happy with the experience, then you become loyal to the brand or to the service. Marketing is not saying, I am the best. Well, for everyone, they are the best. Their product is the best in the world. It's asking, how are you? To the customer, how are you? How you feel? What is your problem? Can I offer you a solution to solve your problem? That's how we should approach marketing. Marketing has two faces. The business side, which are the producers and sellers, of course, and the customer side or the consumer side, it depends. So we call it first, it was the 4 Ps of marketing. Now it's 7 Ps, 8 Ps, 9 Ps, because of the marketing is changing, the market behavior is changing, service sector is embedded into the product, so more Ps are coming into the picture. But basically, it's 4 Ps, and it's about putting the right product at the right place, at the right time, and at the right price. So when we look at the 7 Ps and 7 Ps from the business side, it is the product, but from the consumer side, it is the customer itself. Price from the business side becomes a cost from the customer side. Place for the business becomes convenience for the customer. Promotion for the business becomes communication for the consumer or the customer. Physical evidence for the business becomes credibility for the customer. Process becomes connection, and people become the customer service. Now we look each one in detail. The product, the customer. Marketing's maybe most important attribute is the product itself. It's not what a business can design, produce, and sell easily. I mean, everybody can produce something. I even produce small things, some artisan things, but producing and selling is not direct result of any production. You can produce, but selling is not so easy. The product should be a reflection of what the customer needs and wants. I can sit at home and produce several things, but do they answer the solutions of, do they answer the problems of any customers that I want to address? I'm not sure about it. If I can find the right solution to the right problem, then I'm in business. Then I have something to sell. Simple example, cassava in bulk. This is a product to sell. There's a special market to sell the cassava product fresh like this. And then you process it and it becomes gari, for example. And then there's a special market for it to sell in bulk, in big sacks of, I don't know, 15 kilos, 20 kilos, 50 kilos maybe. And then you process it down to smaller packages, brand it, and then there's another market for it. But is it the end of it? No, it's not. If you blend it into a service, it becomes a part of a restaurant service, for example. It becomes a meal. So starting from the fresh raw material in processing, it comes into several stages, and at the end of the day, it meets the customer in a completely different way. In the supply chain, producers are working in some of the stages, not in every stages. I don't think that any restaurant owner has the raw material and then the processing of curry and then packaging into big and small packages and then selling, and also processing it in their restaurant. But it can be. Once you're in any part of the business, think about the final stage where the consumer consumes or buys and uses the product. Think about it. It should be convenient from the beginning to the end to answer the final consumer's need. The second attribute is the price. For so many of us, maybe it's one of the most critical part. But believe me, it's not the most critical part. It's the sum of all costs needed to produce a product or a service to sell it, to be able to sell it. Plus, of course, there's a profit margin on top of it. But usually, this is not the case. The price is not this case. It is usually determined by market forces. So you might have a higher cost base than the market price because your competitors are selling or producing and selling cheaper than you, or the market, there's no demand in the market, so the prices are falling, but your cost base is still higher than the price itself. For the customer, it's a cost. Whatever product you're selling, your price is the cost to the customer. And their income level will be the determining factor. Imagine you're going to the supermarket to buy anything. So the guys who are producing it have a price in the supermarket, right? And the supermarket has a profit margin on top of it. But it depends on your income level if you want to buy it or not. There are some items, some products that you have to buy, like flour, for example, or water. You have to pay for it and buy it because it's essential for living. But otherwise, some products are optional. So your income level will determine, as a customer, from the customer perspective, will determine if you can buy it or not. So it's your cost. And it's an opportunity cost. If you're buying coffee and replacing this with, let's say, fruit juice, it's an opportunity cost. If you want to buy coffee, then you don't, if you have a limited income, and then you don't buy fruit juice, just buy coffee. But if you have a lot of high income level, you can spend things on everything, and then you can easily buy, of course. That determines the price of products. Something from a different sector. And by the way, innovation usually comes from different sectors. So examples from different sectors are very enlightening usually. Who would like to have a Ferrari? I think all of us, huh? But a UK price of a Ferrari F8 is 200,000 pounds sterling. It's not easy to buy it, huh? Just in comparison, a Suzuki Swift in the UK, it's a very nice car. I would love to have it. It's 11,000 pounds. It's it's maybe 1/20th of the price of a Ferrari. But both provide you, I think, pretty good travel. You're safe from the elements. You have some, at least basic luxury in it, but the price is incredibly different. Because what you're buying in Ferrari is not a car. It's a style. It's, you're buying something else. So you pay for it. If you have the money, some people have the money that they can spend, like these football stars or actors, whatever, or rich people, they can easily pay this 200,000 pounds or 1 million pound even. If you look at our one of the sectors, for example, if you're buying Kiehl's, this is one of the famous brands in the market, a cream, a body cream with soy milk and honey with body cream, a 226 gram package is 37 pounds. A similar one with a shea butter, coconut, caramel sand something, body care cream is about 10 pounds, 9.99. Probably both do the same thing. It's not so different, but the brand here makes the huge difference. It's almost four times more expensive than the basic shea butter cream. This is also UK price from Amazon.com. So you can see what price means. Price is also related with the brand. If you're selling a brand which people are loyal to, which people are like to buy, they can easily pay a couple of more dollars according to the product, or hundreds of thousands more again for a car or for a house or for a yacht or for luxurious items. Place and convenience. Place is the channel where and how products are being sold and where product meets the customer. Customers prefer to look for and buy products where it is more convenient for them. For example, as a consumer, when I want to buy something, let's say water or a body cream or something, I simply go to the supermarket. But if I want to buy something that I cannot carry, maybe I look for the internet, or I look for somewhere which is very close to my house, so that I have I don't have much problems carrying it. So it has to be convenient for us where I buy it and how I buy it. And this depends on several constraints and the psychology of the customer. Well, for example, I will give this later, but let's mention it here. During this pandemic period, we're not able to, because of lockdowns or because we are concerned about the hygiene, probable dangers of catching the virus. We don't go out much. We don't go to the supermarkets, or we don't go to stores to buy things. And then what happens? The channel immediately becomes the internet. We buy on the internet. And now you can buy everything on the internet. You can buy a car on the internet. You can buy a house on the internet. You can buy water on the internet, any kind of machine, whatever you buy on it. And if you don't like it, if there's something wrong, you can change it. So it becomes more and more convenient to buy online. Again, I show you this photograph from the streets of Accra. It's the convenience. If I'm stuck in the car, it's very convenient for me because I need it at that moment, a cold bottle of water or a fruit juice. But yeah, if I have time, if I want to buy some cosmetics, I go to the supermarket, or I go to a specialist store to buy the product that I want. Or if I'm going to a spa or a massage, then they do in the spa, they use something. If I like it, I can buy it from the spa. So it becomes a part of the service. It's blended with the service. And if I like it, I keep on buying that item as well. A gas station or a bookstore, off-the-counter sales. This is also one of the big channels nowadays. While you're paying for what you have bought, at the very last minute, your eye catches something, usually with a very small package and a very convenient price, and the last minute, you buy it. You see it and you remember that you will use this or you will consume this, and you buy it last minute. So it's another convenience for the customer. And the internet, of course. This is from a Turkish website. You can find all kinds of cosmetics with different prices, which are delivered directly to your house in 1 or 2 days maximum, with very attractive prices. And you don't pay cash, you pay with card, and you get it. Promotion. Promotion is what a business does, and from the customer's end, it is the communication, how the product message is shared with them. Promotion is how marketers positions their products on the market and how they share the product and brand messages with the customers via several ways and through different media. Well, of course, nowadays, the easiest way and the cheapest way, in fact, free of cost, is the social media. Using the social media. It's very effective. Places like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, even Pinterest, those kind of, and there are many more probably, but these are the prominent ones. So there are so many ways that you can, without any cost, with some effort, you can position and promote your services and products to the dedicated right customer. Just some examples. It can be a billboard, a huge billboard. While you're driving, you see it, and it's just goes to your mind, and it stays there usually. But of course, I mean, once the ad is there, the product has to be at a convenient place, because you see the product on the billboard or any poster or somewhere. But if you cannot find it, then it's a problem. And then there are mobile platforms as well, where you can both position and promote your product and sell at the same time, like this small three-wheeler with a nice display that people, I mean, at a prominent location, you stop, you just open shop, people see it, people know about it, and you tell them the story, you communicate the story, and also sell your product as well. Physical evidence, which is from the customer side, is credibility, especially in case of service industry, like a hair salon, spa, restaurant, etc. Businesses provide tangibles together with intangibles. And for the customer, it's the credibility they attach to the product and the brand. If you go to a restaurant, it can be a street open restaurant, or it can be a fine dining restaurant. It doesn't matter. You go for especially you go for the intangible. You like the ambience. You want to be there. Sometimes it's a show off. Sometimes it's a pleasant moment that you want to share with your loved ones. But it's a part of the intangible. But then the tangible comes into the picture. It's the quality of the food with its ingredients. Or if it's a fruit juice you're drinking, it has to be the quality, the taste, and everything. If it's a wine, it's the same. It's an olive oil, it's the same. And for a spa, for example, or a hair salon, it's a very similar thing with the body care and cosmetics products. Process and connection, how the service is realized, procedures, mechanisms, and delivery. For the customer, it's how they connect to the service, brand, and related embedded products. This is an example from Nespresso, a Nestle product. Probably you also know it in Ghana. It is widely spread all around the world. It's one of the most successful products in the world. So it's not only coffee. Now they opened shops all around the world, and I've been to some of them. and their products or brand face is Mr. George Clooney, the famous actor. I think he suits it very well. Probably they're paying him a fortune for this, for these advertisements. Anyway, beautiful shops, very nicely decorated. So it's like a boutique. And they also sell the Nespresso machines, all kinds of coffees in it. And now they are opening Nespresso coffee shops. So you can sit in, have a sweet or a cake, have very nice coffee, and then shop your machine or any kind of coffee you want, and then happily go home. So this is the brand, of course, but it's a kind of the procedure and the mechanism, how they deliver the product and all kinds of services to you. It stucks in your mind and in your heart. It is there. Once you're attached to it, linked to it, hooked to it, it's very difficult to get away. That you want to go there again, you want to buy more and more. People, it's about the customer service. Human element that interacts with the customer. It's the knowledge, the behavior, the culture, even the dress code or the talking, how they talk to you, and the social interactions. And for the customers, it's how they see, identify, and consider the service face of the brand. But I know that, especially in Ghana, but in so many places, most of the businesses are micro or small businesses. And new startup entrepreneurship. So what is most important is usually the brand is the owner itself. He or she, they are the brand. So how they dress, how they talk, how they interact with the customer, with the market, their behavior, their culture becomes the customer service. One example, a very brilliant international brand coming from Australia. The brand is called Aesop. Aesop is an ancient Greek philosopher's name. Beautifully designed shops all around the world. And they have very upmarket, high-end cosmetic products. And they have very good stories to tell you. Beautiful packaging, incredibly beautiful packaging, but very expensive. And always behind the counter, someone very intelligent, someone very knowledgeable about the product, about the sector, telling you all kinds of things about the product and asking you questions about your skin type, your problems, and offering you the right solutions for your right problems. So the people becomes the service, which is attached to the product. And marketing is a mix of all these factors. You need a strategic vision and integrate it into the value that you offer to convince the customer. It's a process of understanding the customers. And marketing starts right at the beginning of the business journey, before even the brand takes form. And it's all about design. It's about designing your corporate identity, whether you're small or large company, it doesn't matter. It starts at the very end with the corporate identity, with the designing of your brand, designing your communication with your target market, target customers. The package label, we talked about it for 2 days with my colleagues, presented you. It's part of your promotion strategy. And of course, the sales literature that you use, these are all part of the design. You design everything. You have to design everything. So at the very beginning, you need a business strategy. And business strategy is not only about marketing, but it's also about production. It's also about supply chain. It's also about innovation, so on and so forth. And then part of it is the marketing strategy. Once you have a marketing strategy, then you need a plan, a detailed plan for marketing, which transforms itself into tactics and implementation for a short and medium-term activities. A little bit jumping into branding. This is where an identity becomes an experience and planned efforts and interactions that transforms itself into trust and loyalty. So we have the product, we have a company, producing company, and we have the customer, which is the market. So a company offers value to the customer. If there is no value, there is no meaning of buying for the customer. And then for the product, we always have to be innovative because everybody does everything at the moment. I mean, if you're talking about fruit juice, everything is there. If you're talking about cosmetics, I don't know what hasn't been done yet. But of course, there's always something about packaging, branding, the service you build into it. So innovation has to be there. You have to be innovative. And innovation is not always creating something new. It's also learning from other sectors, learning from your competitors, and adapting it to your market. And of course, the company markets their products. So intersection of the company, product, and the customer is the brand. Excuse me. Branding elements. Marketing helps build brands through great experiences. So marketing is essential for branding. Once the brand is launched, it becomes one of the key elements of successful branding. So it's a chicken and egg thing. Which is more important? Both are important. Marketing is branding. Branding becomes marketing. But of course, marketing is the bigger picture. Branding is becomes a part of it. So brand positioning, one of the elements is brand positioning, designing the company's offering and image to occupy a distinctive place in the mind of the target customer. What do you expect the customer to think about you? That is the brand positioning. Then you position your brand in such a way that the right message goes to the brains of your target customers. Brand logo, the visual that people will automatically associate to a company. It is often considered the face of the company. This includes the shape, of course, the colors, and etc. Brand image, the impressions customers get in their mind of a brand's personality. What kind of an image sticks to the brains? I mean, you position yourself, you have a logo, but then what image sticks to the brains? This is also very important. The value you propose, offer to the customers, to the market, what the brand stands for and why customers should believe in the brand. There should be a story behind it and the real value you never trade off. You promise and you deliver the value. It can be quality, it can be price, it can be some kind of a delivery, practical delivery you want to offer, anything, but it has to be there and you have to keep your promise. Brand guidelines, a set of rules ensuring that all the business team members are on the same page. For example, if you have a dress code, everybody has to dress that way. If you have a talking code, everybody has to talk that way. If you want to use the same color, etc., and everywhere, the logo, everybody should be complying to these rules. Brand is something that exists in the minds of customers. It's a judgment, it's a sentiment, it's a feeling, it's a trust that is created by the sum of all interactions a customer has with a company. It is more than products and features. Products can change, features can change, but it's the experiences that stays. It's the trust that stays. Believe me, the most successful brands are consistently creating an authentic customer experience around their consumable products, one that is worthwhile and personally engaging. These brands give their core target audience a more compelling reason to buy. Just like the Nespresso example I gave you. If you're simply selling coffee on a supermarket, okay, but then where is the experience? The experience only is when you're preparing the coffee at home with the machine, but that is very limited. But once you offer them a coffee shop, once you offer them a beautifully designed store that they can stay, they can taste different coffees free of charge, become a part of the whole environment, and then it becomes an experience. To buy and create brand perceptions through their brands, the personality, the promise, values, and story, which the customer will find at the end of the day, hopefully irresistible. One example from IKEA. IKEA, I don't know if you have it in Ghana, it's the world's biggest home furnishing company in the world. It's a huge company, 40 billion, I'm not talking about million, 40 billion euro, 400 stores, more than 200,000 workers all around the world, the most successful and the biggest. But let's have a look here. Powerful IKEA brand diversifies into new products, even new sectors. They are selling a lot of food, all kinds of food, from salmon to Swedish meatballs, to sweets, cakes, coffee, etc. And in every every shop, there is a food court that you can go in, eat food, stay there as long as you want, enjoy yourself. The kids have a kids playground that they can play. And at the end of the shopping, there's a food court that you can buy all kinds of food from all around the world. And you won't believe this, but the food revenue is around 5–6%, which is 2.4 billion euros in 2019. 2.4 billion euros. This is a bigger turnover than most of the biggest food companies in the world. It's unbelievable. So what IKEA is doing at the moment is investing into city restaurants and more branded and packaged food products. So I think this company was established in 1950s in Sweden, selling nicely designed and easy package, convenient furniture. And now they are a huge food company, selling its own food in the restaurants and packaged food as well. And now they're selling, they're becoming also your competitors, but also supply chain as well. They're selling all kinds of dried fruits and fruit juices as well. Another one from a completely different sector. It's a clothing company, basically clothing, but they do all kinds of outdoor equipment, from shoes to climbing equipment and etc. It started with a mountain climbing enthusiast and a fishing enthusiast. It's an American company. It's about $1 billion turnover company at the moment. But their story is based on a serious commitment to help save the planet. And they have wonderful stories to tell, a reason for people to buy Patagonia products, just like this one. They have this wonderful advertisement. It just became one of the big things in the world at that time. They came out with this idea to don't buy this jacket. Because they say, if you have a jacket, why do you buy a jacket? You're spending your money on something that you will throw away. Don't buy it. You know what happened after this advertisement? People rushed to the stores and bought things other than they needed. If they have a jacket, they bought 2 jeans or 3 t-shirts or whatever. They made a huge sales after this advertisement. But they keep their promise. They try to help the world and also support outdoor sports like surfing, climbing, running, mountain biking. But we don't stop here. Now they're your competitors. They are selling food, Patagonia food, ready-made, ready-to-drink soups, fruit juices, olive oil, dried fruit like mango, for example. Then this huge company also becomes a part of the supply chain as well. I mean, maybe you cannot sell directly to this, but you can sell directly to people who are producing, subcontracted and producing to this company. Well, but the idea here is a huge brand, very powerful brand, basically in a completely different sector, but who is able to sell whatever they produce because the consumer loves them, the consumer trusts them. Now they can sell anything. Huh? If they open even a coffee shop, they can sell coffee. That's the power of the brand. And then another one directly from your sector. Maybe you've been drinking and seeing this in different parts of the world. It's a UK, basically UK company, but some years ago acquired by Coca-Cola company for a huge sum of money. Innocent drinks, beautiful branding, you see. They have a beautiful story to sell. It's long to tell you, but these are 4 guys who started from nothing. So in 1999, they were selling smoothies homemade smoothies in a music festival somewhere in the UK. And they put a big sign asking people if they thought we should give up their jobs and start selling smoothies. And they had 2 bins saying yes and no. So they asked people that if they like the smoothie, put a yes sign into one of the bins. If no, and then put a no. And then at the end of the day, they counted, and it was a high, of course, yes coming out. So the next day they quit their jobs. They were all in the financial sector or something, and they started the smoothie, and they built a huge empire out of it. They have, I would recommend you to visit their website, innocent.com. It's very easy. You will see there, you will hear about their stories, their promises, how they look at the world, and how they carry the communication, their ideas with their products. For example, they care about the environment, and their idea is in 2022, which is 2 years from now on, all bottles they sell will be 100% renewable. And on each package, they have funny things. They either educate the consumer or give some funny ideas, funny things for them to learn about products, about refreshments, and so on and so forth. So it's a very happy, very, very happy brand. Marketing, and I'm coming to the end, marketing and branding during the pandemic. This is not first of all, this is not a short-term problem. It is long-term and with serious effects on how people live, perceive, and behave, not only in Ghana, but in almost all parts of the world. Brands which have customer loyalty will definitely have a clear advantage. If I buy that, if I trust that brand, I keep on buying that brand. That's as simple as that. E-commerce, using social media channels effectively, and online delivery capabilities are crucial for even for the big ones, for a medium size, but most importantly for the small and micro companies. This is a must. You have to have the capability to position and sell and deliver on the social media and e-commerce platforms. In many countries, incomes of people have been hurt dramatically. This is a fact. Essential needs, especially for sanitation and nutritious food, home entertainment because people are locked down at home exercise equipment, cooking equipment, and do-it-yourself equipment become more prominent spending areas. People don't spend much. They keep their budget, they keep their money in there, try to keep their money in their pockets because they don't know what's going to happen next month. So they only spend for the essentials, and since they're locked down, mostly they can't go to the gym, they can't go to the restaurants, so they do everything at home. Small packages in food and cosmetics might be preferred due to their price advantage. So think about it. Think about in your products if you can produce small packages so people can afford. But at the same time, it sounds controversial, but at the same time, because of during the lockdown periods, people stock things, and then they tend to buy bigger packages. So according to the lockdown station or the situation or to the psychology of the people, just keep in mind that big packs may also be preferred as well. Hygiene is utterly important both for product and for the delivery. A lot of home deliveries are sold at this time of the year because of the pandemic. But you also make sure that the consumer makes sure that it's delivered in a hygienic way, in a clean, let's say virus-free way. So it's it becomes part of the product. Once things cool down, it's a mystery how people will behave. Is it going to be a rush to consume everything or save their money for worse days? Even for myself, I don't know yet. I will see. I mean, in Turkey, things are opening up a little bit. From Europe, with my relatives and friends and colleagues, I see that more and more in Central Europe, in Mediterranean Europe, things are opening up at the moment, restaurants, gyms, concerts, whatever, but under some, of course, special rules, special to this period, to this pandemic period. But we don't know how people will react. It's a mystery, so you have to watch carefully. What to do? Start with business strategy. Have a business strategy, then a marketing strategy, and prepare a marketing plan accordingly for the short and medium term. Strengthen your brand. Review and reposition if necessary. Even change the brand if necessary, if it's not selling well. Just get rid of your low performing brand and start with a new one if it's necessary. But strengthen it, strengthen the brand, because that's where consumers keep loyal. Have a story and communicate with your customers. In all our products, from fruits to cassava to cosmetics, there should be a story behind it. It's the nutrition value. It can be how the fruits are grown, how they're picked, how they're processed, story behind it. And I'll try to always use Africa behind it, because Africa sells well all around the world. That's what I think. Keep your promises. If you promise that it's going to be high quality, keep it at all costs. You're promising on the packaging, keep it. If you're promising on the delivery, keep it. If you're promising on the price, keep it. Do not compromise. Review your value offer. Concentrate on what are the real needs wants of the target customers. Do not be stubborn to try to sell whatever you think that is needed in the market. Go make surveys, ask people, try to learn from other people what are the real needs of the people, and repackage or redesign your products and services accordingly. Use the online channels as efficiently as possible, both for positioning and promoting your brand, because this is the cheapest, fastest, and most efficient way today and tomorrow. Packaging is important. Try to be innovative. Learn from the other sectors, how they do it, how they change it, what is coming and what is being old, what is not wanted. I mean, you heard a lot of good things about packaging yesterday. Try to, excuse me, try to embed these ideas into your packaging. I know packaging is not easy in Ghana because of there's not enough production, or maybe lacking the fundamental production. So mostly everything is, almost everything is imported, which is a problem. And usually during this pandemic stage where there's disruptions in supply chains, there might be even more problems in the imports and importers, wholesalers providing you the packaging, but still try to be innovative. I mean, even in crisis, you can come up with good ideas, I think. Compliance to quality standards is indispensable. You have to have a quality, especially with food and cosmetics. There is definitely, your standard has to be there. It has to meet the rules and regulations, and never compromise. Never compromise. Always try to go one level up in your quality standards. Cooperate with others for a larger scale marketing. If you're not big enough, let's say to fulfill some orders or to reach some markets, then cooperate with others under the cluster idea, for example. Your cluster members cooperate for the website, for access to a market, or for, let's say, buying, packaging. You have to cooperate. This is the time to cooperate. And if possible, search for alliances and strategic partnerships coming from Ghana, from the region, or from the world. If you have alternatives like that, that would be a good chance to open you up to the world for sure. Well, I think, I don't know if I've been too long, but in a nutshell, this is my presentation today about marketing and branding. I hope it was I was able to open some nice, good windows for you. Of course, I mean, this is a huge thing to talk about, or to coach, or to consult. But in half an hour or 40 minutes, I think I tried to do my best. I hope you enjoyed it, and it was helpful for you.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. It was a very comprehensive presentation again from you, taking us through So maybe my first question would be, should I quit my job and also start smoothies?
Well, I have to taste. I have to taste your smoothies first.
That was a good one. Anyway, we have, I think the presentation went well. We have one question so far. The gentleman or whoever posted a question is saying that you talk that branding is all about, marketing is about satisfying your customer. So his point is that, should you know what your customers want before you produce, or you should guess their needs, produce something that you think they need and convince them to buy? So on a comparative analysis, how do we say it?
Well, theoretically, you should know what your target customers want, what kind of a product, what kind of quality level, what kind of price level, what would be the, let's say, features of your product. But usually this doesn't work this way. I mean, mostly people are capable of producing something like a black soap, for example, or gari, because they have the raw material and they have kind of a technology, even the basic technology to produce it. So they start producing it and they start selling it to their neighbors or in the region, in the village, around the province, and etc. And then it becomes a business. And then they want to sell more. But then the market they are targeting, it can be a broader Ghana, it can be West Africa, it can be Europe, then it's a totally different story. Let's say all of our business out there, there's small or medium-sized producers, maybe some of them are larger ones, and they want to sell to Europe. Now they need something else. I mean, you cannot sell the same black soap you're selling in your neighborhood with a very simple packaging, with very simple information on it to a European market, because the market needs something else, and a different packaging, different content, so on and so forth. Different price, different size, whatever. So that's what we mean by knowing about your customers. Or maybe the content should change. It should be a black soap with something else, with something, another raw material in it. You just blend it and then come up with a better idea for the, let's say, for the German market or for the Asian market. So when we say about everything is customer, yes, everything is about customer. What you are able to sell to your neighbor doesn't mean that you're able to sell to me. So you have to find something suitable for my needs.
All right. The follow-up question is that, how can you educate your customers on your brand to enable them accept your brand?
Well, I mean, if you can, when I'm there, for example, if one of the, let's say, fruit juice producers, if they're selling to me and if they're directly in contact with me, they can ask me. This is easy. But you cannot do it with your target market. It's not possible. You cannot ask everybody. So what you use is usually the social media, your website, if you have it, and your packaging. You try to educate me, ask questions, and get answers, and do the innovations accordingly, according to the feedback you get from the social media and the direct messages on the package. That's for a small, especially for the small and medium size, I think this is the only way to get the answer. And educate the customer also.
Well, you talked about street marketing, the hawkers in the street, as we call them. And there's a question, a follow-up question is that, can one make street marketing in Ghana sustainable, especially the traffic sales? If you target it, can you make it sustainable?
You mean only with the street marketing can we make a business sustainable?
That's it, yes.
I think it depends on the size, of course, or if it's a small size business, and if they're selling well. And I know that in Ghana, I mean, especially with my exposure to some of the businesses, their quantities are so small. I mean, the total quantity they sell are not huge. So yeah, it can be sustainable, because usually if they're selling there's only one person between the customer and the producer. It's the street seller, right? So it goes only one step. So the profit margins in the value chain are not so much. So they can keep a lot of profit still in their pockets. And yeah, they can, but they need a good network. They need a good network of hawks in all the streets at the prominent positions, lights scattered around the city, with some more aggressive way of selling. I don't know. They have to try different things. Huh? I mean, I like it. I really like it. But I don't know if it will be sustainable for the longer period. At some point, somebody, the police or the city administration will say, okay, guys, no more. They might say it at some point.
Every now and then, they are sometimes cleared and they come back and they are ignored. So I think your question is also very much in line. Then there is this other question. I think one has already been answered in your earlier submission. Somebody was asking if one product can target different segments with the same brand, but I think in your earlier question, you took it out. One is asking, can a Ghanaian brand be developed to be competitive in highly competitive international markets? Can somebody develop a Ghanaian brand, and how can that product be developed to be competitive on the international market?
Well, I mean, most of the places are already taken by big guys around the world, but there's always room for improvement and something natural. I mean, Ghana and Africa stands for natural things, right? And of course, the colors, the taste, the smell, it's completely different in Africa. So that would be the competitive edge. If for our value chains, especially for the cassava, fruits, and cosmetics, if they base everything on the natural ingredients, and then it's really possible. Ghanaian products can easily have a good place on the world market. I'm sure about it. I'm definitely sure about it. But you need to work a lot. You need to work like hell. I mean, the branding will be very, very difficult. But then comes the product with its quality level, its packaging, and how you display it, the shops or the corners, or where you sell it, the channels. It's something. You need to invest a lot into this, but it's possible.
There are two questions here. I'll put them together. It's all about branding, or about brands. One is saying that some brands are popular with different sectors. How do you stand out in that sector? Then one is also saying that some brand names are used by different people in different sectors. How can you stand out in such circumstance?
Well, if you have a registered brand, for example, I'm starting from the second question. If you have a registered brand, then nobody can use it. If you don't have a registered brand, then yes, everybody can use it. But there are, I mean, generic names like Shea buttercream. Shea buttercream cannot be your brand. Your brand should be Vedat, or your brand should be something. And probably it's not allowed to use Ghanaian, for example, because Ghanaian is for everybody. Or even for African, it has to be something African, something Ghanaian maybe. But if you have a registered brand in Ghana, nobody can use it. If you have a registered brand in Europe, in North America, there are different rules for this, protocols for this, and then nobody can use it. And vice versa, you cannot use anybody else's brand. But these are also according to the sectors, right? A food brand, if it's only registered as a food, somebody can. If you don't register it as cosmetics, you can use it as a cosmetics. You can sue the guy, etc. You have a case, but still they can use it. So another thing that people should be worried about, if they think that they have a good brand, they should register it. First of all in Ghana, and then in their target markets in Europe and other parts of the world. Can you repeat the other question again, please? The first one.
Well, the first one was that in different sectors having your brand, how can your brand stand out in that sector? And I think it's really related. So maybe I take up the next one so that we are running out of time. Someone is asking that if somebody buys your products, you're a Ghanaian producer, so somebody buys your product in Ghana, from Ghana, and rebrands and sell it in the UK or in Germany, in any other market, what's the advantage for you?
There is no advantage for the producers. But if you're happy selling your products in the way you produce it, in the way you package it, in the way you brand it to someone, and then I think it doesn't sound very logical that, for example, I buy the cosmetics in Ghana and come back here, get rid of the packaging and do another packaging and sell it. It's very costly. It's nonsense. What I would do is give an order and have the person produce for me, subcontract me, and produce my brand, my private label. So that would be much more realistic perspective. However, maybe some people are buying products which are not branded or not packaged at all in raw form, and then go back to their countries and then repackage it and then sell it. So the advantage for the producer is they're able to sell their product in volume. But from the market side, of course, they don't have any advantage at all. It belongs to the one who is selling in that market.
All right. On this note, we'll be bringing this webinar to a close. Thank you very much, Vidat, for taking us through this detailed presentation. Well, there's for our listeners and members who attended our webinar, we thank you very much for being with us. Like we said, it was a very fruitful day with the FDA giving us all the guidelines that regulations require, and then Vidat coming on to talk to us about the branding and marketing. We've learned a lot, so we have to go out there and try. Yes,
Charles, I just forgot one thing. We had this idea of providing coaching sessions to some companies which are part of our clusters. So anybody who's listening, we have this idea, coaching sessions starting from June afterwards on marketing, branding, business strategies, so on and so forth. I mean, different parts of it will be available. So if you're interested, let's talk about it.
Yeah, thank you. So like Vidat have just said, we organizing this. Please contact your cluster experts, Joseph for cassava and derivatives, now for cosmetics and personal care products, and Frank for fruits, and then all the things. Give your names to them, and then we would start this. We want to support the industries we're working with virtually. We'll have a coaching session with you. We'll decide timelines, and then we'll agree on that and have this meaningful time to help our businesses grow. We'll come your way same next week on the 4th of June. We're talking about access to international market. That's we're talking about the export access, export readiness. We started with a story. Our storyline has been marketing online, going into business continuity, having a packaging material, going into branding, and now we want to go international, want to sell. So next week, please join us, tell your friends, spread the word, come and listen. We have Ghana Export Promotion Authorities joining us to explain the processes, the requirements for going into export. We have an international expert also telling us about what we have to do if we go into product selling, if we go into fairs, how we have to sell our products. It's been nice coming your way again. On behalf of the WACOMP team, we thank you all for showing up, and we look forward to meeting next week. On that note, greetings to our friends in Ismail, Turkey. Greetings to our friends who join us from other places from Vienna. Thank you. When my net dropped, my colleague Ebe immediately stepped in for us. So Ebe, thank you very much for the backstopping. So on this note, we wish everybody a blessed weekend. Relax, have fun, but please, as the motto goes, stay safe, and we meet again. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.